Given his track record as someone who has spent most part of his active life assiduously pursuing goals that would lead to the acceleration and sustainability of the integration of the African continent, a course which has taken him to all parts of the world where he has engaged with influential opinion leaders on the way forward, it did not come to anyone as a surprise that His Excellency Ambassador Dr. Bamanga Tukur, CON, decided to use the auspicious occasion of his 80th birthday anniversary celebration to gather leaders of thought from Africa and other parts of the world together to brainstorm on how Africa can begin to fully utilize areas where it has comparative advantage. The 80th birthday anniversary celebration of His Excellency Ambassador Bamanga Tukur, CON, took place at the Congress Hall of the Bamanga Tukur African Renaissance Center at the Adetokunbo Ademola Crescent, Wuse Zone 2, Abuja on Tuesday, 15th September 2015. The first part of the Bamanga Tukur at 80 event featured the 2015 edition of the Bamanga Tukur International Legacy Lecture Series, which is a flagship event of the Bamanga Tukur African Institute for International Trade and Development. Themed Enhancing Capacity Development for a Sustainable Regional Integration in Africa, the lecture series provided a high-level platform for both policymakers and leaders to seek positive solutions to topical development issues that confront the African continent within a global setting. It is also a unique occasion for business leaders and senior public officials to evaluate their strategies, strengthen relationship with their partners, as well as meet with potential ones with a view to developing new business cooperation. The 2015 Bamanga Tukur International Legacy Lecture Series, which is held in close cooperation with institutional partners such as the United Nations, UNIDO, ECOWAS, Africa Union, AU, ACP, UNIPEP, and other major international groups, is also an avenue for the promotion of international cooperation and growth, high level of stability, equity and security, with the ultimate aim of fostering best practices and global dialogue with an African perspective. The program began with a lecture plenary with two panelists taking to the podium to marshal out well-researched points in support of a balanced approach in the design, integration, and implementation of a centralized and decentralized bottom-up solutions appropriate to meet the realization of Africa's Development Goals Agenda 2063. The first speaker was His Excellency Dr. Toga Gawia McClintosh, the Vice President of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. The second panelist was Professor Akpan Ekpo, Director General of the West African Institute for Financial and Economic Management, WAFM. The third panelist was Nigeria's Professor Ibrahim Gambari, CFR, Chairman of the Commission on Global Security, Justice and Governance at the Hague Institute, was unavoidably absent.
The development literature today is filled with concrete ideas on what this process entails. The literature is also filled with prescriptions on what needs to be done. These include, for example, diversified competencies. Somebody is an engineer, somebody is a doctor, somebody is an electrician. They also include building positive and forward-looking attitudes and behaviors. Regional integration has much appeal for Africa as the right strategy for overcoming the constraints of high fragmentation, small domestic markets, and growing transnational threats. Now, this scenario has so far failed to leverage the continent's economic transformation. At the moment, the capacity to implement regional cooperation and integration is grossly inadequate. And so this needs to be enhanced.
The very intellectually stimulating lecture was most revealing and provided important roadmap for quick actualization of the plans ahead. As the lecture ended with the interactive and question and answer session, it was obvious that for Africa to achieve continental integration, eradicate poverty, and be fully integrated into the global economy, Africans need to trade and work with Africans. This is the most salient point the lecturers set out to signpost. In the citation of the celebrant, His Excellency Alhaji Dr. Bamanga Tukur, which preceded his special 80th birthday anniversary address, a detailed chronicling of his groundbreaking achievements were presented. Educated at the Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, and London School of Economics, with postgraduate degree in Public and International Affairs from the University of Pittsburgh, United States of America. His tenure as the General Manager and Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Ports Authority between 1975 and 1982 was marked by remarkable contributions in the establishment of ports across the country, a period when maritime activities hit its highest level, which impacted positively on the economy of the country. Ambassador Alhaji Bamanga Tukur was the civilian governor of the defunct Gongola state in 1983, Minister of Industries, Chairman of the National Council Nigeria-Africa Peer Mechanism, Chairman of International Cargo Handling Association, Vice Chairman, International Ports and Harbors Association, Fellow, Institute of Transport, London, Fellow, Certified Institute of Shipping, Fellow of the Chartered Institute of Administration of Nigeria, Fellow, Nigeria Institute of Transport Technology, Zaria, Kaduna State. Alhaji Bamanga Tukur is a holder of the prestigious National Award of Commander of the Order of Côte d'Ivoire and Commander of the Order of the Niger, CON. He has also been honored with honorary doctorate degrees by universities across the land. Alhaji Bamanga Tukur is a recipient of the Kofi Annan Leadership Award and Zeke Leadership Award. He was appointed Ambassador at Large Plenipotentiary. He also served as the National Chairman of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) in 2012. In his birthday anniversary address titled The Historical Background and Realization of My Earthly Sojourn So Far, Alhaji Bamanga Tukur began by giving thanks and adoration to Allah, the greatest and most merciful, for giving him the grace to be alive and kicking at 80. He affirmed that he has tried his best to impact the lives of all those who had crossed his path positively, regardless of their background, religion, sex, ethnicity, and such other primordial considerations, as he proudly proclaimed unequivocally that his circle of friends cut across all divides of the country and indeed the world. He has, through this, continued to build bridges of friendship and comradeship. Alhaji Bamanga Tukur, as can be attested to by all, also beat his chest to say, assuredly, that the secret of his success in life is premised on the time-tested values of honesty and contentment.
I have every reason to thank Almighty Allah, and I have greater reason, therefore, to humbly rededicate my services to Allah, my country, and mankind. All I have achieved and that I have been and all my future endeavors to Allah. Allah, our Creator, the greatest and most merciful, has been exceptionally good to me. He has blessed me. He has blessed my work. He has blessed my family. Allah indeed is the reason why I am speaking with you today. and, and celebrating my long life. May his name be praised and lifted up in all the corners of the earth.
Alhaji Bamanga Tukur admonished all those in business, social interaction, and indeed politics to be honest. Alhaji Bamanga Tukur played a role with like-minded Democrats to press for the return of democracy in 1999. Alhaji Bamanga Tukur took on the audience on the concept of party democracy, which is said is a corollary to the idea of party discipline from the hindsight of being the national chairman of the PDP, during which he tried to introduce sanity in the party affairs.
I had the privilege of serving as a national chairman of the party, during which I tried to introduce changes, sanity in the party. I introduced the idea of internal democracy in a sustainable way, party discipline and party supremacy. These are the great ingredients of strong party system which ultimately drive the democratic process. Perhaps on account of the long period of military reign in Nigeria, Nigerian politicians have not yet internalized and applied the principle of internal party democracy. I hope that with time, I'm appealing with time, and I hope time will put me right. This system will be strengthened our national democracy.
The celebrant said that if we must get our political bearings right in Nigeria, we must subscribe faithfully to the ideologies of the parties. Alhaji Bamanga Tukur posits that a strong economy brings development, peace and security. He then formally announced his retirement from partisan politics after serving the country through several political platforms. To quote Alhaji Bamanga Tukur at the age of 80, "I feel I can serve our dear nation more in the capacity of a statesman and father figure. I therefore leave partisan politics for the younger generation. However, my doors are open to politicians, businessmen and women, and all Nigerians who may seek any advice or opinion on any issue affecting our country and beyond." He enjoined politicians to play the game according to the rules and take the interests of the country at heart. Politics should not be a bread and butter affair. The principle of internal party discipline must be entrenched. He strongly condemned the frequency of defections from one political party to the other, which is sadly the politics of Nigerians these days. He strongly advocated for party supremacy, saying that political parties are stronger when members submit themselves to the rules and regulation.
A corollary to the concept of party democracy is the idea of party discipline. True politicians should avail themselves of their constitutional right to assembly with anybody or party. But the need to checkmate frequency of defection from one political party to the other can hardly be overstressed. Political parties are stronger when members submit themselves to the rules and regulations of the party.
There was a long list of congratulatory messages that poured in to felicitate with the global villager, elder statesman of international repute, Present Chairman African Business Roundtable, Chairman of Nebel Business and Business Group Africa. Among others, President Muhammadu Buhari, former President Olusegun Obasanjo, Inspector General of Police, members of the National Assembly, ministers, governors and prominent Nigerians and friends of Nigeria from different walks of life. The governor of Adamawa State, Senator Bindo Jubrila, thanked him for his fatherly role in his life.
I want to inform this audience that I'm the firstborn of Alhaji Bamanga. This is not a job, because when I was in England studying with his son Awal, Bamanga, if he comes to London, he will not eat. He will tell Awal, call me, look for me, so that I will eat. I will never forget this. And also, he's one of my closest people to my late father, because we are neighbors in Adamawa State. I will never forget that. For me, I want to thank you, and I pray God for good health and guidance for me. Thank you very much. And may God bless you all.
The final 80th birthday anniversary celebration of Ambassador Dr. Bamanga Tukur, Tafidan Adamawa, was a grand reception which took place at the banquet hall of the Sheraton Hotels and Towers, Abuja. The event had in attendance former Senate President Joseph Wayas, the Governor of Adamawa State, Senator Bindo Jubrila, former Governors Victor Otta of Akwa Ibom State, Muazu Babangida Aliu of Niger State, former Governor Boni Haruna of Adamawa State and his wife, distinguished senators serving, and former public office holders, Hajia Bola Shagaya, and friends of the Tukurs from all strata of the society and other climes of the globe. The diplomatic community was fully represented. The celebrant had the solid support of his wife, Hajia Fatima Bamanga Tukur, who was supported by a legion of her gorgeously dressed friends who stood out conspicuously in all directions of the hall. Of course, Barrister Awal Bamanga Tukur and all his siblings, male and female, who all have a very striking resemblance with their father, surrounded their father with a lot of love and affection on a day such as that, when their presence in such numbers will definitely add more to the joy of the celebrant. The upscale event, which had the king of world beat, King Sunny Ade, on the bandstand, formally began with the opening prayers jointly delivered by Hajia Zainab Maina and a representative of Pastor T.B. Joshua. A special song of praise to which everyone stood added some early spice to the event.
You are Alpha and Omega. We worship you, our God. You are worthy to.
The welcome address on behalf of the Bamanga Tukur family was delivered by Honorable Barrister Awal Bamanga Tukur.
It's my task to welcome you all to this evening, which will culminate the formal celebration of 80 years on this earth of Alhaji Bamanga Tukur. It's lovely seeing you all, and since my task is to welcome you, I have welcomed you, and in the course of the evening, I do hope to also thank most of you individually on behalf of the family. But until then, take this as a general welcome, and thank you very much for coming, and I wish us all a very, very, very delightful celebration this evening.
This was quickly followed by a tribute session, during which more encomiums, eulogies, and accolades were showered on the quintessential octogenarian elder statesman of the moment, Alhaji Bamanga Tukur, for a life full of selfless service to his country, Africa, and the black race. Those who volunteered opinions included former Senate President Joseph Wayas, former Governor Victor Otta and Babangida Aliu, Chief Mrs. Bola Dohati, and Chief Sarumi, one-time Managing Director of the Nigerian Ports Authority. He must have made the day of the celebrant by signposting the most eloquently chronicled efforts put in place by Alhaji Bamanga Tukur as Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Ports Authority over 3 decades ago to infuse sanity into the port's operations. He said Bamanga Tukur's tenure was a regime that will be remembered as that period that netted in the biggest revenue for the federal government. In fact, according to Chief Sarumi, more ports were built during Bamanga Tukur's tenure as Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Ports Authority than any other time in the country.
This is one man in Nigeria that I know in my lifetime who
you can never find fault with. Bamanga would rather walk away than to find fault and fight for it. Bamanga never get tired by receiving us morning, afternoon, day, night.
So let me start by remembering the day he was elected the chairman of that great party, the PDP. His house was like a Mecca, and we all appreciated and look forward to what he will do to lift that party up and help Nigeria to grow. And indeed, he fulfilled our expectations.
Well, I read somewhere where Alhaji Bamanga said if you were around, probably PDP would not have kissed the dust. Maybe that was true. But I can confirm to you today that Alhaji Bamanga Tukur is an excellent virus, a virus that cures, not the one that destroys. And we congratulate you, sir. Thank you very much.
So he went into PDP with the spirit of making a change, not because he was looking for anything, not because he wanted money, because daddy will never steal. And if you tell daddy someone has got this, they say, God is the ultimate. He has gotten all what God wanted him to get.
I remember I was so proud when he sent me to Tokyo for a course. And when we got in there, they were looking for me. They said they want to see the young boys from Nigeria. My colleague and myself showed up. And when we got in there, they said, you are the children, or you are the ones sent by Alhaji Bamanga Tukur. We said, yes. Do you know the importance of Alhaji Bamanga Tukur? Alhaji Bamanga Tukur is the Vice President of International Association of Ports and Harbors, the greatest association of all ports in the entire world. And of course, because of that, we were having virtually everything free wherever we went.
The cutting of Alhaji Bamanga Tukur's 80th birthday anniversary cake was supervised by Senator Ambassador Professor Iya Abubakar. It certainly would have been a great slip if the presence of the cow is not represented at that event, given the traditional long-time love of the cow to the Adamawa person because of their typical agrarian nature. The cake was made in the image of a cow surrounded by his wife and other dignitaries. The birthday icon cut his cake. This was followed by a long stretch of photo and video session. The celebrant was joined by his wife, children, their spouses, and a very long list of grandchildren.
5, 6, 7, 8.
He feels really satisfied and really proud that this is a Nigerian who's taking Nigeria's name all over the world positively.
The celebrant dance saw Alhaji Bamanga Tukur, his wife Hajia Fatima, and other dignitaries in top celebration as King Sunny Ade released his very hot sizzling musical arsenal. From then on, King Sunny Ade took on the audience in turns to deliver his inimitable scintillating music, which kept everyone on their feet for a long while. Biscom Communications joins the rest of the world to salute the global villager Alhaji Bamanga Tukur, CON, as he attains the very wise age of the octogenarians in grand style.
àkàrà ò lọ láti